but as we go through that, again, I'm going to talk to you about the role of elected officials in government. Because what that says is that when we have leadership, our own Republican leadership, telling us to step down on things that we know are right, if I couldn't get the people of South Carolina votes on the record, I didn't need to be there. And I was embarrassed by the things that I was watching pass across the desk that they didn't want you to know about. And we've got to turn around and now start holding elected officials accountable. It is no longer about looking good in a picture and holding a baby well. This is about making sure that they are representing you the way that you're supposed to. I went and told the people of South Carolina, did you know of all the bills passed last year in the House, only 8% were on the record? Did you know of all the bills passed in the Senate, only 1% was on the record? So if you didn't know how your House member voted 92% of the time, and you didn't know how your senator voted 99% of the time, how did you know who to vote for when you went to the polls? You did. This is a wake-up call for every state in the country. This is a wake-up call for our federal government. We have got to hold elected officials accountable. I'm very aware of who I work for, and it's not anybody in that state house.
Exactly.
But every elected official needs to understand that. What were the reasons they didn't want me to push the bill? It's going to hurt us in re-election. So what I will tell you is we have to go back to the core of the problems that we're facing. The number one issue that affects everything in our state in South Carolina, in every other state and in our country is spending. There is no value for a dollar. Absolutely no value for a dollar. And the perfect example of that was the bailout. The bailout was a quick fix to get everybody to get quiet. But what did it do? We just found out that that bank bailout, all of that money, instead of the banks releasing the money and doing what they were supposed to, what they do, they went and invested in other banks. It's costing trillions of dollars, and our Republicans did that. So we now have to define what is a Republican. Do we want a conservative or do we want a Republican? Because in the state of South Carolina, we've got a Republican Senate, a Republican House, and a Republican governor. Yet when I went into office in 2005, we grew government by $1 billion in 2005, 2006, and 2007. And we can't tell you where the money went. So the first thing we've got to do is get back to the value of a dollar. Understand that it doesn't fall from trees. Understand that really sometimes when the country's going through a hard time, what's the best thing we can do is go through the burn. Prioritize and say, what do we really need to be spending our dollars on? Turn around and look at the fact that is government supposed to be paying for these things? And when we go back and realize that government's not supposed to be paying for these things, when we understand the value of a dollar, and when we understand when the country's going through a bad time, what's the best thing we can do is take care of our small businesses, take care of our people, remember the role of government, and go through the burn, because it forces everybody to reform and fix what they're doing. Small businesses right now that are having a tough time in the economy, what are they doing? They're cutting back, they're looking at their budgets, they're figuring out how to streamline so that they can get strong again. And if we turn around and we give our small businesses profit margins, if we turn around and get cash flow in our small businesses again, what are they going to do? They're going to hire people. Now, we went through an incredibly tough stimulus fight in the state of South Carolina because Governor Sanford fought having to take the stimulus. And it was national news that he fought having to take the stimulus. When it came to the House and we had to deal with the budget first, the first two people I called Senator DeMint's office and I called Governor Sanford's office. And I said, we've got this stimulus vote, we've got to deal with it in our budget. Number one, do we have to take it? And number two, what does it mean? And both of their answers were, we don't know. So all of this was forced down on the states and no one knew. It was a 600-page document and no one knew what it meant. Now the entire country and our Republican-controlled state legislature said, well, we need to take it because if we don't take it, some other state will. That was the number one fight they had, was we better take it before anybody else will. Well, you know what we're dealing with now? A stimulus that we were forced to take, that they said would take us out of the holes that we were in education and public safety and all those things. And now I've got school districts coming to us saying, this isn't bailing us out of the holes that we were in, this is actually requiring us to create new programs.
Yep.
So what did we just do? We just ran up the credit card, and 2 years from now we're going to have less money to pay for it. So I think that we, as a public and as elected officials, we're going through the burn right now. But the one thing I say is I'm proud to be Republican. I am. And my Republican Party brags about how there's been no new taxes, and they brag about how they've given all this tax relief away. But my comment continues to be, it doesn't matter how much you give in tax relief if you don't reduce the spending.
Right.
If you continue to grow government, tax relief doesn't matter. If you continue to grow government, anything else that you do doesn't matter. What does matter is to reduce spending and reduce the control that government has in people's lives. When we do that, we will get back to where we need to be.